nothing much to differ actually, because any crisis, is always like bring a hit to the CMO strategy for the market, any crisis. But when you talk about geopolitical crisis, it's get add-on to the supply chain management, and the companies who are into the global scenario, the cost became a bigger challenge for them. So when the cost is a challenge, it's increased, then obviously people start cutting the expenses, and marketing is always a soft target, but which is most required also. So in that scenario, it is very important, sir talk about spending, then it has to convert it into investment. Where to invest? And I think he had a very excellent point. Instead of investing in customer, acquiring the new customers, if the investment will more happen to the retaining those existing customer and getting recurring business for them, so that's really going to be helpful to the at this kind of crisis. But yes, crisis is a crisis.
You have answered.
Thank you. These four factors are very interesting. We talk about technology, data, and leadership and creativity, right? So it cannot be considered for a CMO as isolatedly. It has to be integrated, and all those four having an integration, a customer-centric approach. You have to create a customer-centric approach also. So let me also address one by one. When you talk about technology, by default is now AI, right? So is that like, my co-panelist told that B2B business, B2C business. In that case, where the AI is going to play the major role. So overall, AI can help us to create a better content as per the marketing is concerned. Then coming to technology aspect of all those things, data, because everywhere we have data in the organization. So are we really using, or do we know our data, and are we doing in a right manner to do a predictive analysis to really understand the market demand, consumer behavior, and consumer life cycle management? So there also the AI and technology is going to play a major role using the data what we have everywhere in our environment, right? But now interestingly, with the data privacy, right? So now earlier we used to do a lot of SMS campaign, a lot of WhatsApp campaign without taking consent whenever we want. So is that is going to be a big barrier for the marketing CMO? How he's going to do that? So here actually, either you take it as an advantage or disadvantage, but what I feel, it is going to be a biggest advantage for the CMO. Now the target of using data is very focused, because you just calculate, if you are sending SMS or doing a campaign for 1 million people without taking their consent, maybe 1% people are really using it. But if you are actually taking consent of those 10% people and communicating with them with a very target manner, then you are getting the right result, right? So that's why technology is going to play a major role, but it has to be used in the proper way. Creative, human mind, who can bring the creative more than us? Who can breed that emotional connection with the customer? Marketing is all about emotion. And who will bring that trust? So all those things, creativity is really matter for a CMO. And coming to the, leadership you said?
Yeah.
Leadership? Yeah.
Business leadership.
Business leadership. Leadership for a CMO, what I understand, most of the CEO, the transition is happened through CMO route, whatever my experience said, and even if I experienced that by as a person. So why actually a CMO business acumen is required? Because we do basically revenue. You are responsible for the top line. You are responsible for the bottom line. You have to understand your consumer. You have to understand your market. So overall, when you take enter all those factors together and develop a real business phenomenon, how actually I should approach to this. So the business acumen is most important, most vital for a CMO, and I think everybody's practiced that, but the extension is different story. And fourth one is
data.
Data. Okay, that I covered actually.
Yeah, that's over.
I believe I covered all the points.
Yeah.
So maybe.